From the CyberHub bunker and studio, you're tuning in to the CyberHub podcast. And now for your host and CISO, James Azar.
Good morning, everyone. Tuesday, August 3rd, 2021. You are tuning into the Practitioner Brief. It's so great to be back here again. 9 a.m. We're here every Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're live on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and any other platform you can possibly think of, folks. Awesome audience this morning. Man, good morning to Heather. Good morning to Hassan. Good morning to Michael and Anthony. Good morning to you as well. Folks, we've got a packed show today. So stay tuned because it is going to be insane. So if this is your first time tuning into the CyberHub Podcast Practitioner Brief, welcome. The show's all about risk, impact, and mitigation. We take the stories, we take the headlines. You see what I'm looking at. I'll give you some mitigations if there's any, or it'll just be a basic informational one, something to pay attention to. Maybe there isn't much mitigation that one can be done. It's just a new threat that we should be being made aware of, circling it around our security teams, our IT teams, making sure that they're all aware of it. Good morning to the awesome David. Thank you for joining us, folks. Please make sure to subscribe to the podcast if you have not done so yet. Follow us on your favorite podcast listening platform by looking up the CyberHub podcast and give us a 5-star review. Before we get started on today's briefing, my traditional cup of espresso. I've got a double. And again, foam. Very, very important, by the way. If you ever order an espresso, because I've had people like message me this, right? And they'll go, James, I ordered an espresso. It was disgusting. I'm like, well, you got to check the foam. The foam makes the espresso. If the espresso isn't foamy, if it comes out and it looks really oily on top, that's really bad coffee. Don't drink it. It's going to ruin your experience. Find a place that knows how to make a good espresso, or just ring me up and I'll make you one. So coffee cup cheers, folks. Good morning to David as well. Thank you for joining us. So you didn't think you were going to come here and get a coffee lesson, but you did. But that's part of the perk. Let's start with talking about China and a major report that talks about them targeting major Southeast Asian telecoms in a very distinct style of an attack. The distinct clusters of malicious activities that are part of the Chinese state interest have staged a series of attacks to target networks belonging to at least 5 major telecom companies located in Southeast Asia since at least 2017. The new report from Cyber Reason goes on to say that the goal of the attackers behind these intrusions was to gain and maintain continuous access to telecom providers and to facilitate cyber espionage by collecting sensitive information compromising high-profile business assets, as the billing servers that contain call detail records, as well as key network components such as domain controllers, web servers, and Microsoft Exchange servers. The campaign is attributed to 3 different Chinese threat actors, namely Gallium, Nikon, and TG3390, aka APT27, aka Emissary Panda. One name. Can we please agree to one name? Folks, come on now. The activity surrounding the latter of the 3 clusters started in 2017, while gallium-related attacks were first observed in Q4 of 2020. All 3 cyber espionage operations have been believed to continue until the mid-portion of this year, so just maybe several months ago. The attackers were highly adaptive, according to the researchers. Each phase of the operation demonstrates the attacker's adaptiveness on how they respond to various mitigation efforts, changing infrastructure, tool sets, and techniques while attempting to become more stealth. And you can see here how the Nebula backdoor side loaded, how they went through the credential theft, the reconnaissance, the pro-C dump, and then how they got persistence in the network. All of which is detailed right here. Now, for everyone tuning in, if you're listening, you can see all the links to all the stories in the show notes, as well if you're watching us now and you want to see the links to this specific story, you can catch it right in the show notes as well. Again, China continues to become a threat actor, and this kind of goes to the idea of we're in a global marketplace with global operations, and we could be impacted by our supply chain, especially in Asia. Something to keep in mind when you're communicating and how you're communicating and the methods of communication by which you decide to operate on. Good morning to Matt, who's on his way to Black Hat and in Denver. I love Denver so much, man. Oh, beautiful place. All right, we'll move to our next story. So about a month ago, I talked about a little under a month ago, we talked about a cyber attack on the Iranian train system that essentially redirected everyone to call the office of the leader Khamenei in Iran. Very, very funny. At the time, we laughed. Now there's some research behind it that talks about a new novel Meteor ransomware called Meteor Express. It's a new wiper attack. It's been very, very interesting. An attack earlier this month disrupted the rail service in Iran and taunted Iran's leadership with hacking public transit display screens and using the never-seen-before wiper malware called Meteor. The next day, attackers also hit the website and computer systems of the staff of Iran's Ministry of Road and Urban Development, according to reports. Sentinel Labs researchers reconstructed most of the attack chain in the train system and discovered the novel wiper, which the threat actors, who also appear to be a new set of adversaries, still finding their attack rhythm, refer to as Meteor. So the security researchers Anton Trepanov, Guerrero Said credited security researchers Anton Trepanov with identifying the early analysis of the offender and Farsi by Iranian antivirus companies as helping researchers recreate the attack. Overall, the toolkit that orchestrated the attack was compromised of a combination of batch files that implemented different components dropped from RAR archives, according to Sentinel Labs. Very, very interesting. A good story to read. Not much to it except that it's another wiper and a new one, which means sooner or later it'll get sold in the dark web, and we'll see it in our corporate environments. So something good to study up on and read on, because sooner or later it'll be used against us in some way, fashion, or form. And Microsoft is warning about a new phishing attack that's sneakier than usual. So Microsoft Security Intel team has issued an alert to Office 365 users and admins to be on the lookout for crafty phishing emails with spoofed sender addresses. The emails send you to either an Office 365 phishing page, a Google Cloud web page, and a compromised SharePoint site that urges victims to type in their credentials. Again, this is a credential attack, folks. The emails use a SharePoint lure in the display name, as well as the message, which poses as a file share request for supposed staff reports, bonuses, price books, and other content to get the end user to complete all activity. There's been a warning issued by Microsoft and CISO around this specific threat. You can see more there. The phishing group is using, again, some very convincing logos across the email. The main phishing URL relies on a Google storage resource that points the victim to a Google App Engine domain app spot, a place to host web apps. All of the URLs have a malformed HTTP header, and the campaign is, according to Microsoft, sneakier than usual. Microsoft says safe links within their Defender would probably solve the problem, of course. Just buy safe links and upgrade your Defender. Should be okay with that. The PyPI Python package repository patch, critical supply chain flaw, has been patched. So we talked about this last week, where now PyPI has issued 3 fixes for the 3 vulnerabilities. The vulnerability in the legacy document deletion on PyPI, vulnerability in role deletion on PyPI, and vulnerability in GitHub Actions workflow for PyPI, all of which have been patched. Go and patch your systems, folks. Patch them now. How many of you love Chipotle? I know, like me, probably all love Chipotle. Who doesn't? Well, a new phishing campaign is exploiting a compromised mailing service account that is tied to Chipotle, an anti-phishing firm, found 121 phishing emails in the 4-day period from July 13th to the 16th. The phishing technique is identical to that used by Noblium, who are behind the SolarWinds attack. Microsoft reported that Noblium campaign that involved malicious emails being sent to roughly 3,000 accounts across 150 organizations in 24 countries. All the malicious emails were sent via the Constant Contact mailing service using the compromised account of the United States Agency for International Development. The new campaign and the volume to likely represent just a subset of the total number of emails. The technique involved compromising the account of a genuine mail service user. In the latest incident, the account was that of fast food firm Chipotle, and the mail service was Mailgun. The technique generally had a high success rate because the emails appear to be genuine from a high reputation source. Please, for the sake of all things that are sacred in this planet, go to your marketing teams and enable MFA on all email services. All of them. MFA, 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 MFA. Would have completely eliminated this. That's right away. Done. Any third-party software that can't be integrated, where you can't use maybe your Azure AD or Active Directory or whatever the case may be, enable MFA. MFA. And some companies will cheap out. So what does that mean? They get one user, and then everyone in marketing uses that one user, so they only have to pay for that one user. Upgrade. From a security perspective, it's a much better hygiene. It would have stopped Chipotle from having to be in the headlines today. MFA, folks. MFA. Please, MFA. This would have stopped it all. Tomorrow, Tony Cole will be joining me right here on the Practitioner Brief, folks. We're going to be going over the latest risk, impact, and mitigations. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be a great one for all of you folks. So make sure to tune in tomorrow. For all of those heading over to Black Hat, get safe, be safe, and stay healthy. Really, really important as well, folks. Thank you for everyone tuning into this morning's Practitioner Brief. We'll be back again tomorrow, 9 a.m. again tomorrow with Tony Cole. You don't want to miss it. And a new CISO talk coming your way later this week, so you don't want to miss that as well. Until then, have a great rest of your day. Most importantly, folks, practice good cyber hygiene. And you know what I say always, stay cyber safe. Cheers, folks.
We love feedback, so make sure to connect with us on social media and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform.